Julie, you're muted.
Hi, Dr. Smith.
Hi, Julie.
Hi.
Hey, Jared, did you see that email? No pay increases for us again this year.
Yeah, it sucks. I have a mortgage and 2 little kids.
Someone wake me up when class starts. I worked doubles this whole week.
And today we ran out of N95s. I mean, how can they expect us to wear the same mask all day long?
Everyone, I'd like to get started now.
Oh, Duncan, time to wake up.
We're still missing 2 students. Here they are now.
Sorry we're late, Dr. Smith. We just got off our shifts.
We saw a patient die, and it was kind of hard to watch.
He was just there all by himself. His family couldn't even be with him.
The nurse with him, like, all she could do was just hold his hand through her gloves.
I'm sorry. It can be so painful sometimes, nursing. Thank you for sharing that with us. Do you need a minute? Nursing is a calling. But at the end of the day, you just have to carry on and know what you're doing it for. As nurses, we nurture others. But how do we ourselves get nurtured? From where do we draw inspiration to continue this work? Practical and hard.
She stood on the black seashore while she looked toward the future. And yet will we forget all she taught, or will we remember and learn from the cause that she fought for? If knowledge gained from the past does not perish, obscure, then she shall endure.
What will the future know of her shadow? And will we follow the trail that she blazed long ago? Was she an angel from a lovely star?
Can anyone understand the heartbreak of her command?
That woman standing there, Florence Nightingale, Florence Nightingale.
Information's coming fast, flying high on the telegraph.
Did-it-da-dit, did-it-da-dit, da-dit. Did-it-da-dit, did-it-da-dit, da-dit.
This new invention quite amazes. Now we get the news in days.
Did-it-da-dit, did-it-da-dit, da-dit. Did-it-da-dit, did-it-da-dit, da-dit.
The telegraph has helped us see the horrible war in the Crimea.
Now we are here to meet the woman who is the panacea.
That angel's coming here, Florence Nightingale, Florence Nightingale.
The train to Derbyshire will be along shortly, miss. Miss? Do you need some help?
Help! Oh, yes, but I rather doubt I shall receive it.
Miss?
Pardon me, sir. Tell me, what is that rabble over there on the train platform?
Oh, they're waiting to greet Miss Florence Nightingale. She's expected home from the Crimea any day now.
Dear Lord. Is there somewhere I can wait for the train alone? By myself?
There's a ladies' lounge inside the station, miss.
Thank you.
Have you heard the word on the telegraph? The Army's nursing chief of staff is a woman.
Ooh, imagine that.
I hear that she studied math.
A lady, that's a laugh.
I just want her autograph.
Florence Nightingale. Did it, 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 did it.
Did you read in the London Times our soldiers died in filth and grime?
Who's responsible for this crime?
The British Army!
Meantime, a lady with a lamp was there, an angel spreading love and care.
She's an angel, a nightingale so sweet and fair.
But what does she wear? What about her hair?
Florence Nightingale. Did it, did it, did it.
Is she married? No, she's not.
Unmarried woman, she really ought to.
And I've read that she's got wealth. Ooh, quite a lot.
My cousin's neighbor's sister caught a rumor. Growing up, she fought with her mother, who was quite distraught with her daughter's behavior, so she sought to control her. She was not successful.
Her sister's not as pretty.
And she's got a nervous disorder.
A crackpot.
I've heard her father taught her Greek and Latin.
Who'd have thought? A woman learning like a man.
If anyone can, it's her.
Can anyone understand how she grew to her command?
That angel's coming here, Florence Nightingale. Florence Nightingale.
Looking back at the 1840s, we can see Florence at home with her family. At that time, early 19th century, hospitals were quite unsanitary. Sanitation, a word only radicals breathed, and nursing, no place for a lady. Florence yearned to learn and answered the need for reforms and statistics and efficiency. Late at night in her room, she tried to read every hospital report, every book and treatise, yet constrained by the games of society and tied to expectations of her family. She was a caged bird, longing to be free.
And she was often late for tea.
Sorry I'm late. All of the mill girls in my class asked for extra help after lessons. And then I had to go to the cottages. Old Mrs. Donaldson has the ague, so I brought her some broth and gave her a rub.
The cottagers? I've heard enough.
Oh, Partha, dear Pop, you would have loved some of the gowns I saw in the village today. I heard the dressmakers got a new packet of cloth from France, and
I had to pour the tea all by myself today.
Papa?
What say we get back to my reading aloud about this new government policy on shipping levies?
Will this night never end? The hands of the clock will never move again.
Tomorrow you're to stay at home all day with your sister.
rest time, Mama. I have so much work to do.
Precisely. You're to count the plates and cups. We have 28 coming for tea on Thursday, and your aunts and cousins arrive next week for a month. And I have some letters I need you to write for me.
Couldn't Mrs. Clark count the plates?
Mrs. Clark has her duties, as do you. Oh, for heaven's sake, Florence. You were presented at court over 4 years ago. I'm concerned you're not preparing properly for your future.
I believe I am fully capable of administering to my duties as a lady, Mama. You've taught me well. Please try to understand. My mind is so filled with the suffering of this world. All the people I see are eaten up by care or poverty or disease.
And my misery means nothing to you?
That's not what
Leave it be. Say, I hear the Prussian ambassador was here last week when I was up to London.
Oh, yes! And Papa, he told me about a marvellous place near Dusseldorf called the Kaiserswerth Institute. It's a hospital where a Protestant can train as a nurse.
A hospital, you say?
I don't want to hear another word about it. Lord only knows what kinds of things go on between doctors and nurses in hospitals.
What kind of things?
When will it be 10? So I can go up to my room again. Set me free from my family.
Richard Bogdan Milnes was here for tea today.
Oh, Richard.
He asked after you, Florence. Richard is quite the conversationalist, wouldn't you say, Parth? So charming. And so well-connected in fashionable society. It would be a good match for you, Florence.
Marriage does not interest me.
So you have said.
Willful, obstinate, strange and passionate, wrong-headed, always in a mood. What am I to do with a daughter like you? Still unmarried at the age of 22, I worry for you. You've been at trial since you were a child. Willful, obstinate,
well, this might never end.
Daughter, you've been at trial since you were a child. Always defiant to me and to when. Why can't you simply be normal like others, just like the daughters of all of my friends?
Oh, Mama, when I was in the village today, I spoke with our old friend, Dr. Fowler.
Oh? And how is his family?
They're fine. I spoke with Dr. Fowler about this idea I have. My plan, you see, is for me to get some sort of practical training at the Salisbury Infirmary.
What is this?
I could do so much more good if I knew more about nursing the sick.
Oh, it's absurd.
It would only be for 3 months. Dr. Fowler said I could live with his family.
But 3 months? What would I do with God so long?
You've got your drawings, Pop. And I'm sure Cousin Hilary would go calling with you.
Oh, it's not the same.
I can just hear what people would say about this.
No one needs to know. You could say I've gone to visit Aunt Mai.
And how would you keep up with your studies?
That's just it, Papa. If you give me your permission to do this, I could do a practicum in natural history.
A practicum? Well, I never.
I could put all my studies with you to good use.
That was your education, not a, well, I don't know what you'd call it, a preparation for something like this. It was not that kind of instruction.
Life is not a school of instruction, but it is a hard fight.
Young lady, I have provided everything for you, and you call your life a hard fight.
Not my life, Papa. I'm just saying, how do we wrestle evil in the world?
This is too much.
And follow God's plan for us.
This discussion has ended.
Please, Mama, just speak with Dr. Fowler.
Gwen, tell your daughter to put this folly out of her mind.
Just leave me be. I've had enough fuss.
When will it be 10?
Just leave me
so
be.
I can go up to my room again.
Too much.
I couldn't bear for you to be gone for 3 months, Flo. I miss how we used to spend our days together. Doing our studies in the morning, and in the afternoons we'd go riding or practice piano, and now I hardly ever see you.
You see me right now.
You're in one of your moods. I know what will cheer you up. Tomorrow you can sit for me in one of my paintings. We'll go into the garden and you can hold a bouquet of roses, like so.
You're like a child. People are suffering and you want to play in the garden like a child.
Flo?
So loud.
Don't shout at your sister.
I simply must go back to the cottages tomorrow.
You'd rather spend the day with servants' families than with me. Florence, it's not proper for a young lady of your station to spend so much time in the homes of labourers.
But you yourself bring them food and clothing.
Of course, a lady has a duty, but you go too far.
And thus abideth faith, hope, and charity. These three. The greatest of these is charity.
But what about me?
What about me? What about me? Sister, don't ever leave. Ever since when you've been my best friend.
Will this night never end?
What about
the
me?
hands of the clock will
Sister,
never
don't
move
ever
again.
leave. Papa, tell Flo she has to stay here with me.
When will it be 10?
Just leave me be.
What
so
about me?
I can go up to my room again.
Mama, you tell her.
I can't tell her anything.
Willful.
Will this night never end?
Miserable. What about me? You've been a child.
The hands of the clock will never move again. Set me free from my family.
Just be like me. Don't ever leave. Normal, sociable, reasonable, dutiful, beautiful, and sensible like me.
Please, may I go up to my room now?
Yes, you may.
Thank you. Good night. At last, Yearbook of the Institution of Deaconesses at Kaiserswerth. Oh, and another. Report on sanitary conditions of the labouring classes. If I can just get my hands on some blue books, some government reports. Ah, here it is. A new approach to the question of the transmission of disease. Dear Sirs, regarding your map of the cholera epidemic, the prevailing miasma theory proposes that disease is carried by a miasma in the air arising from decomposing organic material. But now this. Make a dot to plot each case of disease on a map. Step back, see a picture, a key, make a picture of information. Could it be this disease comes not from the breeze but from water? If so, can we foresee and seize the opportunity to stop it? Make a picture of information. To Mr. Sidney Herbert, It was most enjoyable to speak with you last week at the reception for the Countess. Your remarks regarding the efficacy of maintaining accurate hospital records were eagerly received by me. Upon further consideration, I simply cannot overstate that hospitals must tabulate the facts. Numbers will narrate the story, so make columns straight. In each row, dictate the data. Routinely update, then correlate to calculate the rate of the contaminate. Thus, we can speculate causes, advocate reforms. Educate, legislate, numbers will inform. We can help the sick with statistics. They make a picture of information. My dear cousin Hilary, have you heard about the latest family drama? Aunt Mai promoted a scheme whereby dear Flo might study mathematics with a tutor. I shall paint you a picture. Mother, mathematics, I don't understand. How will that help her when she's married to a man? Aunt Mai, she'll build character by dint of hard work. Mother, she'll shirk her housework. And her character? It will be known to be spoiled when she is all alone with a man. Aunt Mai, there will be no impropriety. I'll provide a chaperone. Mother, moan, groan. Aunt Mai, I will find a tutor who is clean and respectable. It will cause a spectacle. He will be clean and respectable, older, married, and drive away her suitors. I will find a tutor who is clean, respectable, older, married, now deadpan, and he will be a clergyman. Then at last, lessons in maths for 1 month. Dearest Clarky, picture me in Paris. I'm scheming to spend time learning about nursing with the Sisters of Charity. Oh, dear friend, if I can have anything of the kind to do with nursing, I could do without marriage or society or any of the things people sigh after. I want nothing else. My heart is filled. I am home. Aunt Mai said to me, Florence, if you will be ready, something is getting ready for you, and you will be sure to turn up in time. Private notes. I feel as if all my being were gradually drawing together to one point. When I was 16, God first called to me, and ever since then, I've been waiting and listening. If I will be ready for it, something's getting ready for me, and I will be sure to turn up in time. I want to be ready for it. That's something getting ready for me, and I will be sure to turn up, ready to turn up, ready in time. Oh, Richard! I didn't hear you announced.
I snuck past the butler, ducked into the doorway to escape the 2 parlor maids, tiptoed past your mother in the drawing room, and now here I am, with the most loveliest of women in Hampshire, all to myself.
It's not proper for us to be alone like this.
Alone with you is all of life's sweetness, dripping golden from the June honeysuckle.
Always the poet.
And the reformer. You'll be pleased to hear I was able to use my influence to pass through that bill to protect the juveniles in the prisons.
That's wonderful, Richard.
You see what a match we are? Our minds meld together in perfect union for those causes which are so dear to our hearts. And I can make you happy in other ways as well, dearest.
Your natural passions will find satisfaction in me. As soon as we're married, we'll travel. In the Sistine Chapel on a floor we'll lie, gazing heavenward side by side, clasping hands together while our eyes devour divine inspiration for ours and ours. Art, music, all of these will please your imagination.
Ah, but passion and pleasure are but earthly temptations, not for me a vital combination.
But that's not all, for I'm no bacchanal, and I know your mind will find satisfaction in me when we're married.
Married?
Great men will be drawn to your Thursday afternoon salon, and in my expansive library you'll always be free to read, write, and study.
My intellectual nature requires satisfaction that would find it in him, and my passional nature requires satisfaction that would find it in him. I can hardly find satisfaction for all of my natures, but then I could be satisfied to spend my life with him if we were to work together, righting all wrongs, healing all ills, combining our different natures to serve God's will. Could he possibly be the phantom companion of my fantasy? I require more.
Of course.
I have a moral nature that requires satisfaction.
You will find it in me when we are married. You'll bring baskets to the poor and broth to the sick. You'll be the sweetest angel of physique.
Hospitals and charity, not a dilettante's hobby this, nor the icing on his fantasy of domestic bliss. And I have an active nature
That requires satisfaction when you're my wife. I can see your life. All the gents of Parliament, Whigs and Tories too, will pay their daily calls upon you.
And yet, after they've come and gone from my afternoon salon and taken my advice, I'd still be a wife. I have an active nature that requires satisfaction, but would not find. find it in him.
satisfaction.
would not find it in him. I can hardly find satisfaction.
You'll find satisfaction for all of your natures.
But then I'll never be satisfied to spend my life with him. For I know we'll work together.
We'll work together, righting all wrongs, healing all ills, combining our different natures to serve God's will.
He can't possibly be the phantom companion of my fantasy.
For 7 long years, I've been waiting for your answer.
Dear Richard, I require more.
Florence, listen to me. There are 28 ladies coming for tea. Don't forget your etiquette in society. Florence, listen to me.
I need you to help me decide what to wear in my hair when we go for a ride. Don't hide, don't disagree.
Listen to me. A lady must always be for others' gracious company.
Return all calls in society.
Write letters for all her family.
Oversee those beneath the station. Supervise the preservation of 56 pots of jam. There are hundreds of people crying after ladies. Hundreds of people crying after ladies.
Florence, listen to me.
Flo, she needs you to help her decide what to wear in her hair when we go for a ride. Don't disagree. Listen to me.
Daughter at home every morning over breakfast trees aloud a new poem to her mother.
Plays the latest tune for hours
with a metronome
until she's called upstairs to drag a comb through her little sister's hair. She is tired, but do they care?
Hundreds of people crying after ladies. Hundreds of people crying after ladies.
The servants need instructing. When a man speaks, there will be no interrupting.
Florence,
listen to me.
Flo, I need
The servants need instructing. When a man speaks, there will be no interrupting. Listen to me. The servants need instructing. When a man speaks, there will be no interrupting.
I am told the conversation of all these clever people ought to be enough for me. Then why am I starving, desperate, diseased on it? What will become of me? Oh, why, dear God, cannot I be satisfied with this life?
Florence, Sidney Herbert is coming for tea.
Sidney Herbert is coming for tea.
Sidney Herbert is coming for tea. Coming for tea. Sidney Herbert.
Oh, Mr. Herbert.
Miss Nightingale. You're looking well. My dear, you'll be glad to hear I've got my hooks on Blue Books. Hospital reports for you to read. I'll send them to you shortly.
Dear Mr. Herbert.
In our great work together, until the day I die, I shall never leave your side. Now, I must confide, your notes are in accord with the hospital board. At this time, they're crossing swords with members of the House of Lords. Their discord cannot be ignored. But if the Lords explore your notes, they'll get on board.
Written by a woman. They'd think it untoward.
We'll have to keep your name off the record.
Florence, listen to me. There are
No,
28
I need
ladies
you to help me decide what to wear in my hair when we go to the
Right. Florence, listen to me.
Get back to your work and don't complain, for a lady mustn't really lay down her pain. But every night when she goes to bed, she feels a pressure built inside her head. The boredom of her life affects her brain.
Nervous tension builds until she feels she's going insane.
I am convinced these problems that confront me are God's punishment for my sins. I can see no advantage in my living on. I'll never do anything. I'm worse than dust. Oh, I long for something strong to sweep away my life. I have no desire but to die.
Florence, Sigma Bracebridge is coming for tea.
Sigma Bracebridge is coming for tea.
Sigma Bracebridge is coming for tea.
Coming for tea.
Sigma, Sigma, Sigma Bracebridge.
Oh, Sigma.
Sweet Nightingale. So wan, so pale. With your parents' permission, Charles and I'll take you for a sail down the Nile.
Dearest Sigma!
In Egypt, your spirits will lighten up and disrupt a corrupt miasma that imprisons you and remove you from your family. They don't know the half of what's in you. And on the way home, I believe that we can stop in Dusseldorf for you to see that institute with whom you're eager to converse.
Kaiserswerth, where a Protestant can train as a nurse, like a nun.
Shh! Not a word to anyone.
Florence, listen to me.
Hello.
She needs you to help her decide what's right in her hair and disagree. Listen to me.
A lady
Get back to your work. Don't complain. A lady must surrender. Lay down a pain. But every night she goes to bed and feels the pressure build inside her head. The boredom affects her brain until she goes insane.
She is tired, but do they care?
Hundreds of people crying after ladies. Hundreds of people crying after ladies. Hundreds and thousands of people cry. Human beings crying until they're satisfied. Hear them cry. I think they'll die if the lady will not comply.
I'll not comply.
The lady must comply.
I'll not comply.
She will comply. Comply.
Get back to your work.
Don't complain.
I will not comply. In Egypt, God spoke to me, asked would I do for him, do good for him, him alone.
A pamphlet? You wrote a pamphlet?
Yes! So that all the women of England going mad for want of something to do can learn of the work that awaits them at Kaiserswerth.
Kaiserswerth? I did not give you permission to go there. Egypt, yes, but this?
Sigma thought it would be all right.
And what's this about a sisterhood of nurses? Why, it smacks of popery.
They're Protestants.
What will people say?
I left my name off the pamphlet.
It's absurd!
Papa, surely you can see the educational value. And I didn't use any of my allowance. It's Mr. Bracebridge paid to have it printed.
Why must you always upset your mother and sister like this?
Give me time. Give me faith. Trust me. Help me, please. Won't you say to me, follow that spirit within? My beloved people, I cannot bear to grieve you. Won't you please give me your blessing?
Why can't you simply be normal like other girls?
I'm not a girl anymore. Oh, Pop, dear Pop, look what I brought. Bracelets from a shop in Cairo.
I don't care about Cairo. How could you go and leave me alone? Oh!
Now look what you've done.
I'm going to the club.
You can't leave now. You're to stay with your sister night and day and assist her. Don't you dare disobey. I insist your display of resistance must be repaid.
I have so much work to do.
Sister, stay here with me.
Willful, obstinate, miserable daughter.
I must take what I need. It won't be given to me. I must take some things, as few as I can, so that I can live according to my plan. I must take what I need. Papa, I have upset your quiet.
You have always tried to be different from other people.
The only thing I'm trying to do is follow God's call.
I shall not ever forget how you nursed your grandmother until her last moments on earth. Great was your usefulness, and great was the comfort you gave to my mother.
If only now you would give me my freedom. Papa, my dear, cast me a crumb. Can you see clear to grant me an income?
Very well. A sum of £500 a year.
I hope now that I have come into full possession of myself. I will take all that I have learned and rejoice that youth can never return. I stand here waiting in the mystery. Dear Lord, I am ready to serve you now.
Good morning. Do I have the correct address? Is this the Institution for the Care of Sick Gentlewomen in Distressed Circumstances?
Yes, madam.
I'm Mrs. Charles Bracebridge, a friend of the superintendent.
Yes, Miss Nightingale said for you to wait in her sitting room.
You're Mrs. Clark, aren't you? I recognise you from the Nightingale estate. You're one of the housekeepers.
Yes, madam. I've come to help her out here. She's always to be rushing about, taking care of things, she is. Would you care for some tea?
No, thank you.
Hello?
Oh!
You're not Miss Nightingale?
Mrs. Kingsley!
I want to see Miss Nightingale. I need her.
And no shoes again. Miss Nightingale is not likely to fall for your trick a second time. Come with me.
No. I want Miss Nightingale.
She chills her feet so Miss Nightingale will rub them for her. Some of these women will do anything for her attention.
First, our new supervisor wants hot water piped to every floor. And now she has workmen crawling all over the building, installing a dumb waiter.
These things do save the nurses from constant climbing up the stairs. As Miss Nightingale often says, otherwise the nurse is converted into a pair of legs.
And call bells installed in every patient's room.
With valves that fly open to indicate which patient has rung. Brilliant.
Expensive.
Hello. I'm Mrs. Bracebridge, a friend of Miss Nightingale.
Welcome to our little hospital, Mrs. Bracebridge. I'm Lady Canning, Secretary of the Ladies' Committee.
And I'm Lady Wellington, the Treasurer.
How do you do?
Good morning, ladies. I see you've met my dear friend, Mrs. Bracebridge.
Miss Nightingale, I am here to discuss this notion you've taken to buying all of our supplies wholesale.
And what a savings that is! Overall, we've reduced expenditure per person per annum.
But wholesale, that is not how we run this institution.
And Lady Wellington, I want to thank you. I've taken your advice about the druggist's bill.
I don't recall giving you
Thanks to your suggestion, we are saving £150 per year.
£150, you say?
You must include that in your report to the committee tomorrow, Lady Wellington.
I admire how you keep the ladies so well informed.
Well, I must be off. Good day. £150 per annum.
I've just popped round to bring you the list of resolutions. You had told me they had already been approved by the medical men, and I'm pleased to tell you that they have now been also approved by the ladies on the committee.
Splendid.
And Florence, don't let Lady Wellington and her faction get under your skin. I think your inventions are marvellous, and many of the other ladies on the committee think so as well.
Thank you, Charlotte. All my best to Lord Canning. Dearest Sigma.
I come bearing gifts. A laurel branch from your mother.
Flowers. And fruit. Vegetables. Game. How lovely. But she dare not cross the threshold. A working daughter, what would people think?
She's trying, Florence.
What can I do for you, Miss Nightingale?
Please have this delivered to the medical men of our institution. Tell the messenger to say that I'm asking the men for their approval of these resolutions.
Very good, Miss Nightingale.
But darling, Lady Canning said that the resolutions you gave her were already approved by the medical men.
It was a bold stroke. The medical men will now approve my resolutions and think they are their own idea.
Oh, you are a wicked cat.
When I entered into service here, I determined that, happen what would, I never would intrigue among the committee. Now I perceive I do all my business by intrigue.
Oh, there was a patient in here when I arrived. Mrs. Kingsley?
The poor dear. These patients are chiefly governesses whose families have fallen on hard times, and the institution is the cheapest lodging they can find. I'm gaining a deep feeling for the miserable position of half-educated women in England.
Well, I'm glad to see you so well settled in. But now the matter of your family. I imagine they would like to hear from you, Flo. Oh, don't make that face. They really are trying.
Oh, that's right. They felt fully in their right to oppose me, that is, until Cousin Marianne disparaged me in front of the Ladies' Committee. Only then did Mamma and Papa in high dudgeon turn completely about.
But turn they did.
Mother would never tolerate any of the cousins speaking ill of our family. I shall take your counsel again, good friend. I'll write her a note this afternoon to thank her for the hamper.
She will be so pleased. Now, I must be off. Charles is expecting me.
Dearest Sigma, Oh, Mr. Herbert!
Mrs. Bracebridge.
Fancy meeting you here, Sydney.
I like to keep my eye on our friend.
Oh, our Nightingale is spreading her wings.
And an eagle takes flight.
Good Lord!
Oh, Mr. Herbert, I read in the Times of your appointment as Secretary at War. Many congratulations.
Thank you. I hope to be of some service to Britain.
You always have been. I must be off now. Florence, you take care of yourself and remember to sleep.
Yes, I will.
Please, offer my best to your beautiful wife. Good day.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Say hello to Charles for me. But come, they've given me my own sitting room here.
And how are you getting on here?
Oh, I am now in the heyday of my power.
Did you resolve the issue about religious inclusion?
The Ladies' Committee insisted it be Church of England only, whereupon I wished them good morning unless I might take in Catholics and Jews. So now it's settled. We are to take in all denominations whatever and allow them to be visited by their respective priests and rabbis, provided I will take him upstairs myself, remain while he is conferring with his patient, and bring him downstairs again in a noose and out into the street.
Bravo.
Now, to business. Here are the preliminary facts from my tour of London hospitals regarding conditions for the nurses.
And your findings?
Abuse upon abuse. Their pay is bad, their lodgings worse. You'll see I've made separate columns for the data here and here.
Splendid. I'll see to having these evils remedied.
Dear Mr. Herbert, you can achieve in Parliament what no one else can.
Not I alone. It's our work together. Since we first met. Rome, was it? All those years ago. I just wish I could hire you at the War Office.
A lady?
The time draws near. Reform is in the air.
And would you have to keep my name off the record?
Someday, your name will be known all over Kingdom Come.
God deliver us from such.
I must get back to the office now.
I expect you're quite busy. We've all been reading in the papers about the crisis in the Crimea.
Yes, I can hardly keep up with my correspondence. Sirs, Russia's invasion of Turkey and destruction of their naval fleet will not be tolerated. Russian access to the Mediterranean and beyond would surely threaten England's hegemony. Russia has refused to withdraw from the Crimea. England, with our ally France, has declared war. The War Office plans to send the wounded and sick to hospitals in Turkey across the Black Sea. Attached, see the report on the Army Medical Department's preparations for war from Inspector General Dr. John Hall.
I have much satisfaction in being able to inform you that all hospital preparations are a credit to our nation and nothing is lacking.
At the same time, newspaper correspondents in the field are sending dispatches published in the London Times that report an entirely different story. Also attached, see a newspaper account of one William Howard Russell.
It is with feelings of surprise and anger that the public will learn that no sufficient preparations have been made for the care of the wounded men. Not only are there not sufficient surgeons, not only are there no dressings and nurses, but there is not even linen to make bandages for the care of the wounded men. Can you believe it? They have not a bed to lie upon. There are no preparations for common surgical operations. They are kept without the hand of a medical man, coming near their wounds and are left to die in agony. At the hospital Scutari, where we were led to believe that everything was ready, it is found that the men must die through the medical staff of the British Army, having forgotten all that is needed for the care of the wounded men. rests with the government to make inquiries into the conduct of those who have so greatly neglected their duty.
The public reacts to these reports in the Times with shock and outrage and calls for immediate redress. I believe the time has now arrived for the first time in British history for the establishment of a female nursing staff in military hospitals. There is but one person in England that I know of who would be capable of superintending and organising such a scheme.
15th October, 1854. Dear Miss Nightingale, you will have seen in the papers that there is a great deficiency of nurses at the hospital at Scutari. I am confident that a female nursing staff might be introduced there with great benefit. There is but one person in all of England whom I can send to superintend the care of the wounded man. Your personal qualities and your knowledge, your power of administration, your rank and your station in society give you advantages no one else has. My question simply is, would you go and lead the whole thing? The selection of nurses will be difficult, and the task of ruling them will be great. Not the least will be the difficulty of making it work smoothly with the medical and military authorities. I am certain Sigma and Charles Bracebridge would go with you and give you all the comfort you would require. And if this succeeds, a prejudice will be broken through and a precedent established. An enormous amount of good will be done, just the sort of good which only you alone can do. I know you will come to a wise decision. God grant it may be aligned with my hopes. Believe me, dear Miss Nightingale, I am ever yours, Sidney Herbert.
Mr. Herbert, a quote for the Times.
What will happen to my Johnny, Mr. Herbert? What about the shortage of nurses?
What is the government going to do about the crisis in the Crimea?
I'm sending out immediately a commission of inquiry into the state of the hospitals to establish the facts.
Look! It's her! It's her! Miss Nightingale, a quote for the Times.
See to my Johnny, Miss Nightingale! Miss Nightingale, are you married?
My dear friend, I hear you are going to the east. Oh, the good you will do. And I hope you'll find satisfaction, for you could undertake that when you could not undertake me. Yet our friendship abides, I remain by your side.
Dear Miss Nightingale,
I hear you are going to
In the East, preparations are a credit to our nation.
There are no preparations.
Miss Nightingale.
my question, will you lead?
The government must question.
There is no question.
I remain by your side.
Miss Nightingale, take care of my only son.
Nothing is lacking.
Johnny, my Johnny.
They have not a bed to lie upon, and are left to die in agony. The army having forgotten the care of the wounded man.
An enormous amount
Oh, the
of good you will do.
I hope you'll find satisfaction.
I have much satisfaction.
I hope you'll find satisfaction. May God bless you, Miss Nightingale.
Dear Lord, am I ready?
There is but one person in all She's the one we can send for the care of the wounded men.
Okay, I think we're all back from break now. Florence and her nurses, accompanied by Sigma and Charles Bracebridge, left England by ship on October 21st, 1854. Let me share my screen. After stopping in Marseille, France to purchase supplies, despite assurances that nothing was lacking in the army hospitals, they arrived at last at the British Army hospitals in Scutari, Turkey, across the water from Constantinople. Present-day Istanbul. Their party was made up of Roman Catholic nuns, Anglican and other Protestant sisters, and nurses from the public hospitals. It was not a convivial group. Protestants feared the Catholics would proselytize the soldiers, and Anglicans refused to socialize with any of the nurses from the hospitals of London. Florence endeared herself to these working-class women by her kindness and egalitarian attitude toward them.
This is where you'll be billeted, ma'am. And more rooms through there. The rest of your bags will be brought up shortly.
Thank you, Sergeant.
Mr. Ward, sir. This is Miss Nightingale and her party from home. This is Mr. Ward, the purveyor. He's been with the army since the campaign days against Napoleon nearly 40 years ago.
Mr. Ward, I'm pleased to meet you. I was hoping for a word with you, Mr. Ward. Sir, I noticed that many patients have no mattresses and some are without so much as a shirt. If I may inquire as to supplies of clothing and other articles...
My office hours are posted.
Oh, my. Mrs. Bracebridge, be sure to add to our list, locate the purveyor's office.
Righto.
Look lively, miss.
Miss Nightingale, I'm Inspector General Dr. Hall.
How do you do?
How many in your party?
41 women and 2 men.
Each will be issued 1 pint of water per day for everything. Washing, cooking, cleaning.
Only a pint a day? You hush now.
Dr. Hall, a pint a day is hardly enough.
The same as for the men.
We shall make do with a pint, ladies. Dr. Hall, one more thing. When can our nurses begin to make their rounds?
Miss Nightingale, we have orders to house your party here at the hospital. We are, however, under no orders to employ your nurses. You will assist the medical men only upon their request.
I have here a letter from Mr. Sidney Herbert, Secretary at War, with instructions as to our mission.
We have our orders, and although I appreciate your intentions are well meant, an extra party of nurses, especially fancy society ladies, is entirely unnecessary here. And now, if you pardon me.
Me? A fancy society lady?
Mrs. Lawfield, would you please inspect that room and estimate how many of our party can sleep in there?
Yes, ma'am.
Sister Noreen, would you please inspect the other room with the same view in mind?
There's a dead body in there!
That would be the Russian general.
Russian? Ain't them's the enemy? Sergeant, would you please see to having the body removed?
Yes, ma'am. Sorry about that, ma'am.
And would you also have that chamber pot emptied?
But we emptied it a couple days ago. It's still got a bit of room in it.
Just the same, Sergeant. We ladies would so appreciate your help in this matter.
Yes, ma'am.
Miss Nightingale, I do believe that room can house our group from the convent, along with some of the Anglican sisters.
A room with papists? I think not.
Sister Elizabeth, I thank you to not go name-calling amongst our ecumenical band.
You can't order me about.
You would prefer to be sent home on the next packet to England. Until then, you can help the others sew mattresses and pillows. Mrs. Lawfield, I believe you have the linens we brought.
I didn't come all this way to be a seamstress.
What about the patients, Miss Nightingale? Shouldn't we first minister to their needs?
Sister Noreen, if we are to be accepted here, we must adhere to military command, unlike your convent orphanage back home. We must wait until the surgeons request our assistance.
You saw them out in the hallways lying on those thin pellets without so much as a blanket. Surely we can bring them water, read to them from the Bible.
Well, reading from religious texts is strictly against military regulations, as I've repeatedly told you.
But water is another matter.
Oh, dear Lord, this water is vile. I'll see to having the water conduit inspected immediately. In the meantime, you must not dispense water to the patients.
Miss Nightingale!
I'm sorry, Sister Noreen, but until we have permission from the head surgeon, you must restrain your good works. Absolutely no water.
What? No water?
Instead, you may open the port wine.
Oh, brilliant. Brilliant.
For the patients only. With our portable stoves, we can prepare special diets for the patients here in our quarters. The beef tea will be good for those with fever. Ladies, we must see to making mattresses, stump pillows, bandages, and arm slings. I suspect the strongest, though, will be wanted at the wash tub.
This is William Howard Russell, corresponding for the London Times. 9th November, 1854. After British victory at the Battle of Alma, the army moves to the heights above Balaclava. Yet while Russians beat a retreat, our British troops have nothing to eat. Marched up a muddy track, ordered to abandon their packs. Our men now lack all they need and freeze when temperatures fall. Attacked by disease, no cannonball can kill like these. Cholera, dysentery, scurvy, starvation. Another battle. Bad decisions are made as generals again convey their incompetence. Thus into the fray, the tragic charge of the Light Brigade. Bloody chaos thus ensues. The British retreat, but not before we lose 40% of our military forces and 75% of the bravest horses. Army Command, having blundered all preparations, now sends those survivors of this devastation to hospitals on the Black Sea shore. Yet through another miscommunication, the information of their arrival comes but 1/2 hour before.
Mr. Russell, you're needed to help transport patients.
Yes, I just need to finish sending this report.
Go!
Right. Dr. All, another wagon load's coming up from the dock.
Well, why the hell are you standing there?
Allenby, carry them in.
Hurry with those bandages.
We should be helping the patients.
We must wait for orders. Stop complaining and rip bandages.
Put him down.
There's no room, sir.
That one's dead. Put him over there. The leg's got to go.
Leg! No.
Shut up, man.
God save me!
Sister Noreen, see to having the water buckets filled.
Yes, Miss Nightingale.
Sergeant, you're doing it all wrong. Get more bandages.
Yes, sir. We need more.
Here, these are ready, Sergeant. God bless you.
Dr. Hall, the nurses can assist. Sir, the nurses have been trained to staunch the bleeding. If you would authorize...
Miss Nightingale, direct your nurses to help the surgeons.
Yes, sir.
I need help here.
I can bandage him.
We need more water
Yes,
here.
more bandages.
Help me! I need water! God, me leg!
Bring him a pillow.
There you go now, son.
You're right.
Rest easy.
God is watching over you.
Here's some water for you. I'll hold the ladle.
14th November 1854. Dear Mr. Herbert, after that dreadful battle there at Balaclava, those who'd survived into our hands began to arrive. Working without a stop, we'd hundreds of mattresses stuffed and sewn up. Men laid down to rest, wounds dressed. Oh, but you men of England, reading your papers with satisfaction, you simply have no idea of the horror and misery of these men. When on the battlefield they fell, 'twas yet the start of their descent to the heart of the kingdom of hell.
One fellow has 2 stumps for arms.
The next one has lost an arm and a leg, or as new eyes. In all our corridors, we've not an average of 3 limbs per man. When on the battlefield they fell, 'twas yet the start of their descent to the heart of the kingdom of hell.
Get the surgeon! Quick! He's hemorrhaging! Here's some lint for his wounds.
This brute's not long for the world. Leave him be.
But if we can stop the bleeding,
All the wounds are gangrenous. Oh, he's dead now.
Dear Lord, rest his soul.
Almost before the breath has left the body, he's carried away, buried the same day. We have no room for corpses here.
We've no room for more. With 4 miles of beds side by side, there's no room for the dead. The army has not supplied all the things we need to relieve the horror and misery of these men.
We have not a scrub brush or a sponge, no basin, no soap. We've no towels or brooms, and the patients must cope without cups, forks, or spoons. No shirts, caps, or socks. We've no dressings for their wounds. We haven't got all the things we need to relieve the horror and misery of these men. These poor fellows are crawling with lice and covered with mud. We are steeped up to our necks in blood. Yet In the midst of this appalling horror, there is good, and I can say 'tis good we are here. I hope in a few days we shall establish some cleanliness. And I am getting a screen for amputations. For when one poor fellow who's to be amputated tomorrow sees his comrade today die under the knife, it makes impression and diminishes his chance. This is only the beginning of things. We are expecting the assault. Believe me, Mr. Herbert, I am ever yours.
Darling, up all night again writing letters. You'll catch your death.
I must make the next mail packet.
I worry about you. You've become so thin, and you hardly eat or sleep.
I'm fine, Sigma dear.
Miss Nightingale, Dr. Hall is back from his inspection tour and wants to see you, Mum.
But she hasn't even had her tea yet.
Go ahead, put the kettle on. I'll have my tea when I return.
Miss Nightingale, sir?
Good morning, Dr. Hall. I trust you had a safe passage back from the peninsula. The Black Sea has such terrible storms. We're all mourning the loss of the prince. With all hands lost at sea, along with the supplies we've needed so badly.
Let's get down to business at hand.
Yes, of course. I believe the first order of business is...
I hear you're determined to establish some sort of laundry facility?
Yes. I propose to install 2 laundry boilers and to employ some of the women who are currently living in squalor in the basement of this hospital.
Camp
and
followers are not the Army's responsibility.
Yes. Well, I propose to hire some of the more capable of these women to run the washing establishment.
Expense?
I believe I can provide for it with the public funds raised by the London Times.
The British Army does not operate on private donations.
Pardon me, sir, but I've been told that no one here has the authority to sign a requisition to repair the Army's laundry boiler. Thus, on the rare occasion when there is a washing, it's done in cold water, which does nothing to annihilate the lice. Furthermore, the men often get someone else's clothing returned to them, so now they refuse to give up their clothing for the wash because they prefer their own lice to someone else's.
You spoil the brutes. But all right, go ahead with the laundry. That's one thing women do well. Now, Miss Nightingale, I've called you here to address some of the problems you've been causing the South.
Pardon me?
Many of the surgeons are frankly appalled at the cavular manner in which you produce supplies.
I assure you, I only release supplies from my stores with proper medical authorization. As to producing these items, Constantinople is one of the world's greatest marketplaces. I'm simply doing what every British housewife knows how to do. I shop.
Shopping for the British Army is not within the parameters of your duties. Leave that to the purveyor's office.
And yet, sir, it is the utter lack of communication between the purveyor, Mr. Ward, and the commissariat that is responsible for this miserable state of affairs regarding supplies.
Nothing is lacking.
You sent for me, sir?
Mr. Ward, I have given Miss Nightingale permission for the washing establishment.
Washing? What makes no difference?
Well, it can't hurt them. I should like for you to tell Miss Nightingale what you told me about the kitchen.
You've dug up the whole kitchen, ma'am, so my men can't cook. You boiled your arrowroot and beef tea and made jelly and I've set all the arrangements in the kitchen.
In addition, I've received several complaints at headquarters from some of the officers regarding your ill treatment of them.
Pardon me?
She wouldn't let my men make the officers toast.
How the kitchen was sorely needed for preparing special diets for the patients.
Special diets?
Well, the officers go without.
Without toast! While the men need...
And she wants new cups and forks and spoons for every one of them soldiers, blimey. That's what been issued to them when they first joined up.
Those items were in their knapsacks, which they were ordered to abandon at the beginning of the war.
Army regulations is they got to replace what been lost at their own expense.
Lost? They were ordered to abandon their kits.
Women don't understand Army regulations, do they, sir?
Thank you, Ward. You may go.
Thank you, sir.
Pardon me, Mr. Ward, a word. Have you received a requisition for new shirts for the men?
Oh, stop badgering poor old Ward.
Army regulations, ma'am. Like I keep telling you. Before I can put any supplies in my stores, a board of 3 officers has to check every box.
And will you be calling aboard anytime soon to inspect the boxes of shirts?
I don't have time. I've got a whole hospital to purvey.
Providing shirts for the men is purveying the hospital.
Miss Nightingale, military regulations regarding procurement has served the British Army long before some society matron has deemed otherwise. Return to your duties, Mr. Ward.
Yes, sir. Special diet kitchens.
On another matter, Miss Nightingale, there's this current investigation by the Hospitals Commission with evidence cited by one of your Anglican nurses, Miss Elizabeth Wheeler.
It is most unfortunate that Sister Elizabeth's letter with her personal complaints was published.
She has made serious charges against the surgeons and the state of the wards that has fanned the flames of the Times investigation of the entire British Army.
A much-needed inquiry into the lack of sanitation and supplies.
You're to discipline your charges. You may go.
Yes, sir. If I may, sir, one more thing. Chloroform is proving to be an effective method of masking pain.
The smart use of a knife is a powerful stimulant. It is much better to hear a man bawl lustily than to see him sink silently into the grave under a cloud of chloroform. Good day, Miss Nightingale.
Good day. Mrs. Lawfield, you're assigned to the East Wing today.
Yes, ma'am. I only came in to fix my cap.
Cease your duties.
Yes, ma'am.
Mrs. Lawfield is devoted to you, Florence.
She must learn to follow orders. Oh, Sigma, I can hardly discipline these women. They scamper about the wards at all hours. The purveyor has blocked my requisition for supplies, and Dr. Hall.
You must rest, dear.
I have not a moment. We have 5,000 sick and wounded here. Sigma, is this what God has called me for? Well, my training flies in the face of this horror. Mother was right. You and Charles will always be by my side, so wise and good.
Rest, dear, rest.
Let me get back to my work.
Look at this. Another poem about the bird. People are getting silly romantic notions about the common soldier from bloody newspapers.
Dear Mr. Herbert, I'll have you know I take rank in the army as Brigadier General because the 40 British females whom I have with me here are more difficult to manage than 4,000 men. Of our Roman Catholic nuns, some are worth their weight in gold, while the nuns from the orphanages are not only useless as nurses, are a hindrance and completely lacking in good sense. From the hospitals of London, we have many nurses of no particular religion, unless the religion of Bacchus should be revived. I sympathise, though I don't condone that they take to the drink here. What are these wretched conditions and the water so foul? Did you know? We found in one of the water conduits the decaying body of a dead horse. I had it removed immediately. While some of these women are here seeking husbands, some are proving to be excellent nurses. As for the Anglican sisters, some do nothing but complain.
Miss Nightingale, I must protest. The men are not being given nearly enough to eat. I must be allowed more quantities of milk, eggs, and port wine for them.
As I've told you repeatedly, Sister Elizabeth, I will only supply what has been ordered by a doctor and written and confirmed on the diet roll.
The diets are wholly inadequate. Not only are these men suffering from dysentery and diarrhea, they're starving to death.
I will apply for a doctor to listen to your concerns about the diets.
The doctors don't care. They are entirely without sympathy and consideration for others, as are you, Miss Nightingale. You care nothing for...
That's enough, Sister Elizabeth. Return to your duties. And some of our group have other complaints.
Miss Nightingale, I came out, ma'am, prepared to submit to everything, to be put upon in every way. But there are some things, ma'am, one can't submit to. There's caps, ma'am, as fits one's face, and some as suits another's. And if I'd known, ma'am, about the state of the caps, as great as was my desire, I wouldn't have come. Ma'am.
Progress is at hand. The laundry is a fair success. So too the system I established for the men to safely send their pay home to their families, rather than drink it up here. And while 2 of the medical men are brutes, 4 are angels, and are grateful for our assistance.
Florence, you must see this note that's just come from Sydney. A group of 46 more nurses has been sent from
No! I told Mr. Herbert to not send more nurses until I said we were ready for them. I have enough trouble disciplining the women I have here. Another group would be impossible.
Florence, listen.
I have toiled my way into the confidence of the medical men and introduced a system to the disorder of these women. But you have more women running about the wards. Oh, I must put a stop to this.
I'm afraid it's too late. According to this date, the new nurses will be here any day now.
Dear Mr. Herbert, when I came here as superintendent, it was with the distinct understanding that more nurses would be sent. Only at my request, you came to me in your distress, and you said, there is but one person in all of England whom you could send to superintend the care of the wounded men. At this point arrives, at no one's request, a new batch of 46. You have sacrificed the cause so near to my heart. You've sacrificed me. But that's a matter of small importance. You must feel I should resign. I only remain until the time when I can provide for 46 more souls who've come at your behest. Not my request. Believe me, Mr. Herbert, I am ever yours.
P.S. Please send immediately 1,000 knives, forks, spoons, 1,000 mops, 3,000 tin plates, 2,000 yards of coarse toweling, and 50 quart bottles of Sir William Burnett's disinfected chloride of lime.
in the dark and in pain, when a door to heaven opens and I see her again. Moving in that light, her feminine form casts a shadow that can heal this war. Her presence is a comfort, and I kiss her shadow as she passes by. Lay down on my pillow and then my heart mends. Late at night I'm in the dark and in pain, when the door to heaven opens and I see her again. Moving in that light, her feminine form casts a shadow that can heal this war. Her presence is a comfort, and I kiss her shadow as she passes by. Lay down on my pillow and then my heart mends. When I came here for this war, I thought I knew what all the fighting and the blood was for the honor of battle and national pride. I never thought I'd die. Yet in my darkest misery, I am gladdened by this vision of her watching me. She's my lover, she's my mother, my beloved, my heart. She's an angel from a lovely star. And when I'm feeling sad and alone, I kiss her shadow and then I'm home. Now my soul can rest in peace. My heart eased. Darkest misery, I am gladdened by this vision of her watching me. She's my lover, she's my mother, my beloved, my heart. She's an angel from a lovely star. And when I'm feeling sad and alone, I kiss her shadow and then I'm home. Now my soul can rest in peace. My heart's at ease. In this moment of her grace, I kiss the shadow of her beautiful face. Lay down to rest. My heart
Dear Mr. Herbert, I have received your abject apology for sending the new party of nurses, who have fallen on us like a swarm of locusts. And although you authorized me to send them back, I believe that such action would be a major setback for the cause of women nurses in the military. While sending home the Roman Catholic nuns would surely cause rebellion in Ireland. And so it is that we've agreed to employ some of the Catholics here at Scutari and to parcel out the rest to other hospitals, all under the supervision of their leader, Mother Bridgman, or as I like to call her, Mother Brickbat. These nuns wander the halls at all hours, giving religious instruction to the men, which is strictly against military regulations, and causes hue and cry from the Protestants. While Mother Brickbat refuses to take any orders from me whatever, despite the fact that I have authority over all nurses here. Today is mail day. I end in haste. Ever yours, Florence.
Dearest family, if you could only but see me, having been here for half a year on this black shore,
we see that you're blazing the trail that you came to this world for.
And to part the deer, here are some blossoms that grow here. My thanks to you for all you do to help me from home by sending supplies for your cause. Know that you're not alone. And thank you for helping carry out my plans to build a monument here on the burial grounds. England may not remember her fallen heroes, and yet I won't forget the agony of those brave hearts when they came here. Some say that poor soldiers always shall perish, obscure, but these shall endure. The sick and wounded are transported from the Crimea across the Black Sea to our hospitals. Many do not survive the voyage. Their bodies thrown overboard and laid to rest at the bottom of the sea. To the Royal Commission inquiring into sanitary conditions of British Army hospitals during the Crimean campaign, please refer to my diagram of the causes of mortality.
In the blackest sea.
From 12 November 1854 to 31 January 1855, hospital deaths increased more than threefold to an annual mortality rate exceeding that which prevailed during the year of the Great Plague, 1665. Causes: poor sanitation, overcrowding, and improper ventilation. The real causes: ignorance.
Washing? That makes no difference.
Callousness.
You spoiler brute. Chloroform is nonsense.
Incompetence.
No one authorized the expense.
Brutality.
Animals. These men have no morality.
And the greatest fear that chills the hearts of all men here, even men of highest rank, men of great ability, bow under the terror of taking responsibility.
I was only following orders.
This is a nest of official vice.
Yes, sirs. Like I said, Miss Nightingale, she interfered with the purveying every chance she got, sirs.
Miss Nightingale, she stole the supplies and hid them under her
Sister
bed.
Elizabeth is telling a falsehood.
I never!
I was obliged to discharge her from service on account
You
of her
are cold and indifferent.
Washing makes no difference.
You spoil the brute. Chloroform is nonsense.
This is a calamity unparalleled. These officials exploit misery.
I was only following orders.
1,000 brave hearts.
Nothing is lacking.
I have aligned my fate with these.
Dear Lord, bless her soul.
I am prepared. I do not despair. I stand at the altar of the murdered men, and while I live, I fight their cause, their cause. I stand at the altar, I stand at the altar of the murdered men. I stand at the altar of the murdered men, and while I live, I fight their
Now over the globe she's known, casting light on what's needed to nurse our earthly home.
Florence Nightingale returned to England at the end of the war and worked with Sidney Herbert to improve conditions for soldiers. From her London flat, nicknamed the Little War Office, she led reform of the British Army's medical department, while her faithful lieutenants, men with political influence, relayed her writings to the halls of government. Her name, however, was left off the record. With data she collected in the war, she made a diagram showing that soldiers' deaths were primarily due not to battle wounds, but rather preventable disease and infection. She made a picture of information. Florence herself had contracted a disease in the Crimea that left her an invalid for much of her life. Nonetheless, she lived more than 50 years after the Crimean War. During the war, she had become world famous due to stories, letters, and poems about her exploits and heroism. For decades, she wrote numerous reports, corresponded with heads of state and others all over the world, and helped advance public health, hospital administration, social services, and much, much more.
What will the future know of her shadow?
The founder of the International Red Cross attributed his inspiration to her.
Will we follow the trail that she blazed long ago? She's an angel, Florence Nightingale.
She became renowned as an expert on India. It was a tradition for each new British viceroy to meet with Miss Nightingale to be briefed by her.
She pioneered the field of nurse education and established nursing as a profession.
Nursing today is rooted in the fundamentals she instituted: compassionate patient care, sanitation, data collection.
Florence Nightingale.
And the professionalism that is the hallmark of modern nursing.
The name Florence Nightingale is often associated with the image of a sweet do-gooder, an image that masks her true power and ferociousness.
She prevailed against incompetency and inefficiency, catching old ways in the act of being obsolete, opening the door to a better way.
And she mandated compassionate care for all, as her faith and her heart directed.
She wrote notes on nursing, what it is and what it is not. A book still in print today. Before germs were understood, she instinctually knew that pure water,
clean environment,
fresh air, and sunlight
are needed for healing.
Will we remember and learn from these things she revealed? What it is light, fresh air, pure water. And ladies and gentlemen, please keep our home clean. It is light, it is all we have learned through the years. Winds sweep the air, so our vision is clear. Water washes our hearts, so love can move free. Keep our home clean, the air, land, and sea. What it is light. What it is, fresh air, pure water. And ladies and gentlemen, please keep our home clean, so healing may prevail in a world suffering from the disease of ignorance, brutality, and greed. What we need to nurse our world. What it is, keen mind, clear eye, pure heart. And ladies and gentlemen, please keep our home clean. It is not to do harm, it is not to ignore. When the earth cries alarm and there's famine and war, it is light, it is breath, it is heart, it is mind. The patient will live if we all read the signs. What we need to nurse our world. What it is light. What it is, fresh air, pure water. And ladies and gentlemen, please keep our home clean. This is what we need, what we need to nurse our world, to nurse our world, to nurse our world, nurse our world.
There was but one person in all of England.
In the future, which I shall not see, may a better way be opened. May the methods by which every person has the best chance at health be learned and practiced. And may every nurse be not alone, but experienced in this work, practical and hard. May each be a part of a better way that opens.
A better way she opened. Florence Nightingale. Florence Nightingale.
And when I'm feeling sad and alone, I kiss a shadow and then I'm home. Now my soul can rest in peace, my heart eased.
my darkest misery. I am gladdened by this vision of her watching me. She's my lover, she's my mother, my beloved, my heart. She's an angel from a lovely star. And when I'm feeling sad and alone, I kiss her shadow and then I'm home. Now my soul can rest in peace. My heart's at ease in this moment of her grace. I kiss the shadow of a beautiful face.